Hello everybody, I'm Lyndon Thorpe and I'm here with Joseph Noyer, and we're going to continue on with our burnout breakthrough discussions. And today we're going to talk a little bit more about SDIG so that people know exactly what it is and can join in. And then we're going to talk a little bit about my work, which is burnout rescue and risk, and Joseph's going to ask me some questions about that to elucidate what it is and how it works. So without further ado, let me invite my lovely guest on stage. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning, Linda. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And we are streaming to LinkedIn members and to YouTubers. So welcome, everybody. And let's get started. In the past two episodes, we have really started to look at Dr. Noyer's life to date, how he came to be involved in systemic diversity and inclusion, etc. And last week we really started to look at what SDIG is in depth, what it stands for and what it's capable of. So today, let's just continue on a little bit more with that. So Joseph, can you talk about the workers in SDIG? So you've got teams and volunteers, and in your view, what's the biggest strength of SDIG now?
The strength of SDIG, I would say that is perhaps the heart with which we connect with our fellow human beings, regardless of their geographical location, economic circumstances, educational, or any of those things we use to divide our global communities. SDIG operates on the tenet that we are all the creation of God. However we come, a pain to one is a pain to all of us. So when it comes to how we work, we seamlessly get people from all over the world. There's no corner of the earth that we don't have members. Mm-hmm. Now, when it comes to challenge, which you had asked me a couple of times, we don't have challenge in attracting people. There are people who come to us because of their individual challenges. Say, for instance, there's a white woman in Kansas who wrote and came to us and asked, can we let her in, that she loves what we do? Then we send her our usual message to read up about us, because I don't want her to see any surprise. Mm. And the reason why we do that is that some people say they don't like these people, they don't like gay and lesbian and so on and so forth. Our position is we don't have the ability to create anyone. And anyone that is created on this earth is son or daughter of God. The person was created the way God wanted it. No one should determine who is part of us or who is not part of us. Everybody is welcomed. So we send that message to say in many ways, if you would have to discriminate against people, even people you know, more importantly, people you don't know, you shouldn't be a member of SDIG. Now, when it comes to attracting us, people come to us for various reasons. Some come to us for personal reasons. For instance, this woman who came, She said that they were placing things by her house, that she was going to be killed. She was petrified. Why? Because she happened to be a lesbian. And she was scared because she has seen the evil KKK people do to Black people. They've seen what they did to people who support them. They've seen what they do to people who support gays or lesbian people. Last time, I echoed the sentiment of John Brown. John Brown, whose kids were also massacred because of his moral principle that slavery was something that he couldn't even explain. That those who perpetuate those evil acts are evil by their acts. So when she came, she has been part of us. That woman, she has problem with her eye that she doesn't see anymore, but she still tunes in. Now, so we have quite ample of people volunteer, people, in other words, the money you have or not having money should not prevent you from being a member. Love people how you love yourself. By that behavior, you are naturally part of us. Now, if you want to support, say for instance, in your own case, Linda, you write a bit, you also have sense of Canva, how it can be used. Now, in any of those things, even though you haven't done anyone, well, you're doing one already, you can support SDIG by bringing your skills in support of what we do, whether it's in support of your personal work or in support of other people who may come from different perspectives or different backgrounds, but ultimately to elevate everyone to a level where he or she will otherwise not get to. That will bring all of us to a new and higher contour of performance. Now, if people have money to contribute to support us, that will help us to have more permanent people, because of lack of permanency, you find out that sometimes we have some work that we want to do, and sometimes it helps when you pay people to do them. So right now, I would say that, our principle of operation has worked well. We have volunteers, we have people who take responsibility. Say, for instance, one says he likes language. We have Hispanic language we're developing. We have English. We have tutorial services that will help other people who will otherwise not know those things to acquire the necessary skills to be able to read in order to understand his or her history as well as other people's history. We don't want people who say, well, these are the histories we learn, these are the histories we're going to sweep under the rug. Well, we believe firmly at SDIG that if we don't study history, we are bound to repeat the mistakes of yesteryears. But if we study history and reflect and authentically discuss those things, the good, the bad, about that history, it will help us to chart a new trajectory, a trajectory that lead us in the right direction. So essentially, that's the tenant with which we operate.
Wonderful. I mean, it's an ideal situation. But one of my questions and problems is that people often don't know they're discriminating. Discrimination is something that we inherit quite often, isn't it, from our line, from our ancestral lineage. Very often, racists bear racists, and it comes through the line. And some people are simply not aware enough in their lives to know whether they're discriminating or not discriminating. I'm talking now about the kind of wider issues of awareness, because I think discrimination, I think, being involved in SDIG is about awareness and consciousness of the problems that other people have in the world when it comes to discrimination. So this segues quite nicely into my work, which is really about helping people get back into touch with their bodies and their spirits. So, many people are living from this mind, what I call the limited mind. It's a brilliant mind, but it is limited in that it's very good at certain things, calculation, comparisons, and so on. Brilliant at all that. And we've really developed that mind so much. But many people can't come out of that. And it really isn't the way we're meant to live. We're not meant to live from this cerebral position, are we? We're meant to use our bodies. We're meant to really be aware of the spirit that drives our humanity, the human spirit, not talking about a religious spirit. The spirit is what really powers us. And we can see it in all sorts of situations where people survive, the most terrible things, war, refugee camps, etc. The human spirit is amazing, but many people are not aware because they're not connected. They're disconnected from their bodies and from their spirits. And that's what I do with my embodiment work. I'm really so passionate about waking people up, making people more aware by balancing their body, their spirit, and their mind. And as you know, Joseph, I've recently written a book. It is called Your Body is Your Business Plan. So this is an embodiment book for business, for the business sector. And this brings up another point, which maybe we can address in a moment. But yeah, the segregation of the business sector from any other sector has been very strong until recently. Now we have the global community and personal economies and so on. And so we're starting to see a big change in how people are performing and relating. And business is no longer something separate and perhaps a little vulgar. The idea of making money has always been a little bit vulgar. So business has always been rather separate to living. But now people can work from home and they can live their business. And that's very much what I do. I am my business. It's not separate to me. And I am connected and aware, and therefore I can, navigate the internet and the global community quite well. So, yeah, how about awareness? How do you think people should develop their awareness so that they know discrimination is happening and they know they are discriminating too, unconsciously?
First, Linda, I think you've framed this discussion pretty nicely.
Thank you.
I say that because you began by saying whatever kind of separations, whether the separation is based on race, which is pigmentation of our skins, that no human being should be stupid enough to be questioning somebody's pigmentation of skin. And then you went from there to talking about what I alluded to last time, about we are not born to discriminate.
No.
As Nelson Mandela taught us, these are taught. And if they thought they could be unlearned. But the question then becomes, do you believe that those people who taught those outrageous behavior towards their fellow human beings will ever have a sense of unlearning those things? They don't. And therefore, anyone that hopes that they would unlearn is mistaken.
Yeah.
Last time I talked about my theory, and in fact, I know of 3 people. One of them was a professor at the Canadian University. I can't remember the name of the school. The woman passed away a couple of years ago, and her way of looking at women and how people discriminate against women, it has over 18 different facets of how we discriminate against women. Not many people know about these things. That goes to the heart of what you said. For those who don't know, but people should also begin to take responsibility. In the United States, we often say, hence you are 18 years old, you are old to make enough to make decisions. And so when you see people discriminating against women, regardless of how many versions of that discrimination, it's wrong. And if they cannot see that, I don't know. I'm very sorry for them. Now, in my theory of human development, how we develop, I discussed about a lawyer by name Derek Black, how his parents taught him to hate. And on getting to school, he became embodiment of people from different cultures, different societies, communicating, developing friendship. And through that process, he learned. And as he learned, he became more social active. He became the voice of voiceless. It's just like John Brown during Lincoln administration. John Brown, if you know, he was hung. His kids were killed because he resented any kind of slavery. Say that slavery is moral evil, and under no circumstance he acquiesced that act. The same is true when I look or listen to those who say, oh, we don't teach history. Or if we teach history, we make certain people feel bad. Shame on them. Make people feel bad. How about people who the treatment of subjugation, working without pay, doing all kinds of evil things had been done to them? You're talking about somebody being ashamed of being told the wrong he or she had done. That's it. That's no discussion. Now, when you come to the United States, not that I'm of the view that there will be reparation, but if you look at it, the way Japanese were treated in United States in the encampment place, the reason why they were compensated is that there were some learned people, attorneys, some of whom were from the orientation we have happened to be from Japan. They took the matter to the court and won, and that's why they were compensated. Yes. If they were compensated, just for sake of argument, when African Americans talk about reparation, these are people who worked for years and were not paid for their job. They amassed all this wealth for their masters. This wealth never went to them. So for them to say there should be reparation to their work, I don't think that's a religious request. I think that's a fair request. The people people mischaracterize it. How many people would like to work without being paid and go without that pay? But somehow some people sweep it under the rug. So the question is, how are we exposing our people to learn? Because when they learn, that will usher in a new thinking, reflective thinking, to see what had happened in the past so that it doesn't happen again. If you talk to any Japanese who experienced how they were detained in this country and their rights eradicated, they will say, no, it shouldn't happen again. Especially those people who had received the hurts, whether it's in housing or in health or in education. There was a time Black people were forbidden from reading. So when they say these things, we shouldn't sweep it under the rug. At minimum, we should tell the story and inform us that this were all wrong and we should not do it again moving forward. But when you sweep it under the rug, can you imagine the pain the person whose parents or relatives had endured all these things, how they will feel? Best way is to bring everything to the open, discuss the bad, the good, and the evil, and then move forward. With that, you have true forgiveness.
Yes.
You try shaping in the future. Sweeping it under the rug will never help. Now,
I totally agree. Let
me take it to the another side, the one you talked about, your work, because all these things are interconnected. If we try to break them apart and separate them, we are missing the point. When you talked about your body is your business plan, and that will be serving as a guide to leaders, educators, creators. In fact, I will even go further to say, regardless of your field, that should serve a guide as a guide. If you want to succeed without sacrificing your health, clarity, and spirit. So these are all integrated. And until we learn how to integrate, how to relate to one another, we want to be related to in a good way. So if that's how we feel personally, we should by extension know that other people want to be treated that way. And if we do that, we're going to have a better life, a better relationship, and certainly a better world.
Yes. Absolutely. So yes, the responsibility. Each of us has a responsibility to ourselves, first of all, to be truly happy. Happiness is something I think that is so important in terms of our health and our social situation, and everybody's looking for it. Everybody wants to be happy. I've never met anyone in my entire life who doesn't want to be happy. We all are seeking this, but we can't find happiness if we are seeing the world always through this cerebral lens, because the cerebral lens is superbly good at analysis, at calculation, and we've honed these tools to perfection, really. I mean, we are superior in terms of the way we use our minds. But if we go back to a time before language, when human beings were still living very fully, they were communicating without language, and without all of those cerebral tools that we now have developed, then they lived from their hearts. They lived from their bodies. They hunted, they gathered, they lived with the earth. And I've had great opportunities in my life to be with tribes who still live with the earth, principally in the South Australian desert with Aboriginals there, which is where I got a lot of my ideas for my burnout work. Because their view of the world is extraordinary, and their view of people and humanity in general, extraordinary. And this taught me how to bring awareness to people in the developed world. And so if we can agree, if we can be aware that we have many tools to use, some of them are cerebral, and that's great, and we need them, especially now in the digital era with the ascendancy of AI and so on. But we also have many other tools, and this is where my lodestone method comes in. The principal way I work with people is through my lodestone audio transmissions. It's a 30-day program. It's based in meditation. It takes people out of this mind and into the unlimited mind and the spirit through a process of meditation, visualization, and really it works on the inner compasses. So if we look at the human body, which I have spent many years studying, then we can see that there are 4 principal compasses. The brain, brainstem, and pineal gland, which is between the eyes, the heart and lungs, they work in tandem. Then just below the rib cage, the solar plexus, which is a congregation of nerves, nerve endings, but it's really the very center of gravity of the human body. And then right at the base of the spine is the tower that really brings all these compasses together, is the base chakra, which is also a big center of nerve endings. It's also the center of birth for women, procreation for men, and for all of us, elimination. So human beings have to get rid of toxins in their body. So elimination is so important, just as important as breathing. So my lodestone method, through looking at breathing, the spine, and whole body listening, shows people how to get away from the social indoctrination that starts at the age of 5 or 6, how to step back from that and come down into our central core. And this really resonates when you mention the word responsibility, because I believe we each have a responsibility to ourselves, nobody else, to ourselves, to be utterly balanced in our lives, and to be truly happy. So it's only when you step into the unlimited mind and you start to work on calibrating these inner compasses through various means, through exercise, through meditation, and so mindful approaches, that you find balance. And then you can take full responsibility for yourself without outsourcing. So I feel that human beings, mostly in developed worlds, outsource so many things. They outsource their health. They outsource education. They outsource so many things to other qualified strangers. But the most specialized person about us personally is ourselves. We know best what we need for our particular unique DNA. And the other thing is that in this climate of digital escalation and AI and so on, we need to be supremely human, so that we can really shine and, allow all our automations and our AI assistants to do the repetitive work, so we can really, really shine. and our talents, our unique perspectives can come out into the global community. So Lodestone is a way of making people really aligned. Their inner values can be aligned with their outer behavior. And I've seen big changes in many of the clients I've worked with, changing at very subtle levels to become much more responsible to themselves. I think we all owe it to ourselves to be responsible, self-responsible. Nobody else can make us happy. People say.
Linda, I think this year Lodestone is a very important topic. It's so important that I would like you to take some time, do a recording that specifically focus on working on that, simplify it in the way that everyone can go through it with good understanding based on a model I would suggest, steps. Each segment you mention, illustrate it and bring it to the elementary level that people can follow through and understand each and every one of them very well, because those components you mentioned are very important. But I must not leave it there, because you mentioned some other important things. You mentioned limited or unlimited. Unfortunately, the power to be sometimes intentionally or unintentionally limit the ability of some people to use their initiatives to do what they need to do. As Thomas Jefferson framed during the Declaration of Independence, that we are all endowed with certain unalienable right, among them life, freedom, and pursuit of happiness. But at the same time, there were people who were prevented all those wonderful words. They were actually impeded from exercising any of those. So for those whose ability to take on those things were limited, I can't say with straight face that they had the same opportunity to independently take responsibility for what they do or don't do. So this is where sometimes when we discuss these very good things, sometimes we forget about the control. People who control others, people who don't want other people to do other things. All those things, as I said, we have to learn all of them in a way that connects so that we can understand every facet of it. Now, you talked about your work in Australia with Aboriginals. Now, that what you learn from them could be characterized as a precursor to the type of work you've done, to the new innovative work you are doing today, including looking at Lodestone, looking at how you are kind of embarking in other things, like saying your body is your business plan, taking it in layers or in pillars. Leaders, educators, creators, and what have you in terms of your professional, because it applies equally the same way. So I would suggest very strongly that you take those things and break them into small versions, and we can profile you getting those, because those are very critical points I would advocate that people know. It's like now when you talk about democracy, there are people who are busy stifling democracy in every possible way they can, impeding the ability of people to vote to their conscience. Is that really true democracy? I don't think so. But those who benefit from that subjugated behavior would argue that it is. And I don't think so. Until we learn how to be honest, to be truthful, to call spade a spade, we're not going to get a better world. That's my whole view. And that's why I feel like SDIG is doing tremendous work, because we articulate the truth without fear or favor. And at the same time, try to collaborate with people so that we could go in the right trajectory for the betterment of all, period.
Yes. Yes. Good. Yes. Thank you for your suggestions. And I have, in fact, made all of this information available on LinkedIn and on YouTube on my personal channels. And yes, especially the Indigenous part of things. This has really been a huge component in the work I've developed, both in my book and also in my Lodestone method. And I'm now developing Lodestone 2, which is going even deeper into trying to help people to connect with their true nature. Because as we started off saying at the beginning of our talk today, everybody is born good. We are, but we come into the world, and we are full of joy usually, and we are basically good. And then the conditioning sets in, the indoctrination, and we seek approval. And so the layers of conditioning bury our true nature. So my audio transmission Lodestone really goes through that, drills down through those layers, taking you back to very ancient bodily skills like the breath, like how to use your spine in a wonderful way, like whole body listening, which the Aborigines taught me. We don't just listen with our ears. This is very cerebral listening. We can listen with the entire body. So if you stand in hot sand, very still, and really breathe and lengthen your spine, you can detect vibrations all around you. Sound is vibration. And so my Lodestone works on that principle that every vibration in our environment we can detect with our whole body. And when we do that, when we use whole body listening, we stimulate the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is the key, really, to everything. It runs from the brain into the gut, into the arms. In most developed peoples, it's flaccid. It's not developed. It's not toned, because we're listening from here. Cerebral listening. If you look at Aboriginals or anybody who lives close to the earth, their vagus nerve is, wow, so toned up. And so they can listen into the distance 10 miles away, a 10-mile radius. I've been with them when they've done this. They can detect what's happening 10 miles away, and their whole body is involved. Now, you can imagine if people in the developed world became aware of some of these amazing other skills we have, and I call them the unlimited mind skills. If we had access to those, how differently we could live. We could use this cerebral brain to do all the skills, this calculation, the analysis, and then put it down, put the tool down, and then come into the unlimited mind and be really totally engaged in our bodies and our spirits and find incredible balance and incredible happiness. And I have found personally incredible happiness in my own being. And, you know, people say, well, don't you need other things to make you happy? No, I do not. My happiness comes from my center. If other people are involved, that's lovely. But I think I am the only person who can make me happy.
This
And
is
so,
important. This is important. And I have to reiterate on what I had said earlier. Now, when you say unlimited happiness, and now you see yourself as being happy, and the process through which you made yourself happy is something I think you have to succinctly engage in discussions of this. And I say that because we are at a time in world history where all you hear is noise.
yes.
And people try to tune off. As a result, they tune off on things that are essential for their existence. So the way I would suggest you do this is consistent with what I had told you earlier. Break these things into parts. And when you break them into parts, we will have a mechanism of bringing them in small portions so that the inattentive nature of most humans, based on their response to the unbelievable or ubiquitous noise, would be somehow insulated to enable them to see and hear the small segments that will really tap and let them know, look, these are the type of things that will help you. And I think if you do that, SDIG media team can help to share it with more people. Because when we say people don't know, the question becomes, how can we make people aware of these things?
Yeah.
And the only way we can make people aware of these things is by disseminating information on those things. And by so doing, the chances of extending that knowledge to people, and by extension to people, those people who understand it, will then send the message to people who will otherwise never know about it. And through that process, more people will become aware of it. And the joy you're personally experiencing will be, extended to others.
Yes. Yes, that's my mission, really. And yes, I have done a lot of educating about this on LinkedIn over the last year and a half and on my YouTube channel. And yes, I'm trying to do so on SDIG whenever I can. And I would love to have more discussions about the lodestone method, because I believe, well, I know it's changing so many lives, the people who are using this program. I'm in constant touch with them as they go through the daily work. It's 30 minutes a day for 30 days. Quiet time, meditation with audio transmission from me. I guide the whole thing. And yeah, I'm following people's progress, and they are amazed at the changes that are happening. And there comes a point in this program, depending on the person and how indoctrinated they are, they may have to repeat the 30 days to reach this point. But the people who have succeeded to get back in touch with themselves are completely overjoyed. So there comes a point when they say, Lyndon, I know who I am now. You've taken me back into my core, and I recognize who I am. And now I can really start to build my life. It's not out there. It's in here. It's in the heart. It's in the body, in the spirit. And then the idea is, once you are really balanced and your compasses are calibrated to true north, then you radiate this out into your environment, and people start to change around you. People started to have a different attitude to you because of your radiance,
You see, I don't know much about what you said, but it made a lot of sense to me. First phase, which means it's something I'm going to explore more. It's similar to my theory of belief formation and belief transformation. If people don't know how we are all indoctrinated in various forms, they wouldn't know how to correct what they may want to correct. But when I talk about belief formation, using parents whom it appears to me, if everybody like me, I loved my parents more than anything on earth. And if other people do the same, they probably will never believe that their parents can do any wrong unless they see it and be objective about it. And they have to be courageous to show their disagreement. We can be shaped by anything the parents want to shape their children. Behaviorism, behaviorist Mr. Watson, he said a while ago that you give the sociologists anything, they can shape them to whatever they want. Can shape them to psychology, shape them to medical something, to shape them to anything. The same is true here. We can do that. So what I would say is, again, what I had said before, do this in a way that we can, disseminate the information, and by so doing, more and more people will be able to know about it.
Yes, thank you. I will. And I am. That's my mission. That's my main mission. And I have developed techniques that will allow people to avoid burnout. So the topic of our series of interviews is the burnout breakthrough. Burnout is a crippling condition. Used to be called nervous breakdown. My own brother experienced it when he was in his 20s. Complete, utter breakdown of the nervous system. And it's happening all around us now. People are overperforming, they're over-pleasing, they're people-pleasing, they are moving further and further away from their inner core. And they are performing in an artificial way. They are exploiting AI to help them to do that. And so it's really important to bring people back to their own unique selves, and to give them the situation in which they can be uniquely themselves. And that's quite difficult on social media. I've experienced this during the last year and a half since I've been setting up my business here on LinkedIn, especially. Being authentic is the only way you're going to really reach people. Because
are you surprised? Imagine the number of or amount of messages people send in a second, and the way they push it, and some of these things are garbage. Thus, it wouldn't allow you to separate the chaff from something that is meaningful. And sometimes, like for me, sometimes I get to over 300 to 400 emails per day. That's why my new strategy now is to, when I get to people who are meaningful in the engagement, I will give them a special place they can send message, and this is the place where I read everything that comes in there every day. That way I don't miss those. That's a way to prevent me from being cluttered with all kinds of things at the end. I lose important things. So that's why I told you to do it in the separate ways, because I thought that your view of this Lord Stone is important, that it has to be brought to a level at the same time find ways to disseminate it in an effective way so that it could reach people who need it. Now, if you look at what you had said about your work with the Australian Aboriginals, you see, it's similar to if you look at the founders of this country, like people like Ben Franklin, when he talked about this, or when he told them that you're gonna keep the republic if you can make it, if you can keep it. Now look at democracy. They say democracy is driven by rule of law. You're gonna be asking, how conversant are we with the meaning of rule of law? And if that's the first point we have to keep, if we don't keep rule of law, how can we tell other people that rule of law is one of the first things we have to all agree with in order to have a true and viable? It's gonna be difficult. So if you look at it, some people who talk about history as they created history, or people who win wars, they write history, and they don't write the other side of it. People credit them, and those that credit them are those who are often associated in one way or the other about them. Now, those who may have played significant roles, but they don't have position of power, regardless of the quality of what they did, is swept under the rug. So that's the way to say what you had credited Australian Aboriginals about doing and influencing you, you're going to articulate it more, because that will enable people to see that they can learn from everybody, provided they pay attention to important things.
Yes, very good point. And I have written a novel about my time with the Australians, which is on Amazon and is quite well received.
Well, it seems like you have done a lot of things I want to get my hands onto. Unfortunately, the way. That's why
you don't know the half of it, Joseph. You don't know.
I'm gonna get to it. Believe me.
Yeah, I've done so much, and yes, I'm gradually bringing everything out into the arena, bringing out everything into the open, and in little parts. And as an experienced educator too, I've been a university educator for the last 50 years, believe it or not.
Right.
Then I know I have the means of transmitting all this stuff in palatable bites that people can take in. So yes, if you look at LinkedIn, you'll find a lot of my weekly work is bringing all this out into the open. And at the moment, I'm really working on attracting people with potential burnout, or those who are maybe already burning out or are recovering, to come and do an assessment with me, and then I work with them and lodestone to help bring them back into equilibrium. So yeah, my work is really balancing work.
Balancing is important, because everything we're doing is very, very important with balance. Middle of the road is never a bad way.
No,
balance.
The middle way. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, there's so much to talk about, really.
Right.
And we've got so little time. We need to bring our talk today to an end, sadly. But I hope we can keep our finger in the page, and next week continue on looking at SDIG more deeply, looking at my work and how I can bring more of it into SDIG, which I am passionate to do.
Absolutely.
Once we find
this lodestone, your lodestone theory or method, I would like to have you develop it with practical framework as to how people could do that in order to connect their body and all aspects together.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I think if you have that, that could be something that could bring people to see how their brain, their heart, their solar plexus, among others, are all interconnected.
Well, it is. It's a 30-day program, but there's an ebook that goes with it. So all the theory is in the ebook, and you can get a lifetime license for $97. Bit of advertising there, but it's $97 for a lifetime license. And the book is pretty comprehensive. And next month, the Lodestone Method book will be on Amazon. So I'm also developing it into a separate book.
The thing I also want to tell you, because sometimes we miss things. We are talking about what was the person about the book you had put some effort in, and I recall talking with what's her name, with oh God, what's her name?
Namita? No,
the book person.
Oh, the publisher.
Jessica.
Oh, yes, Jessica.
And Jessica told me that she had gotten you, and then I kind of sent her a message telling her that I want this thing to be finished, that it has been for a long time. Now, okay, I don't have your telephone here, otherwise I would have sent it to you right away. It's in my telephone. That's the message. And Namita told me that she was gonna reach out to you, I think 3 days ago. I don't know if she has reached out to you, because I want you and her to make the final decision. And when you guys make the final decision, I don't think that those people are equipped to edit our work.
No,
I told the woman that I don't think that they're equipped to it, because I saw what she sent me, and I'm like, well, you guys are out of your mind. So I believe that I want you and Dr. Namita to look at the thing closely, with like crossing your eyes and dotting your eyes and crossing your whatever they call it, so that you guys can get the finalized, the ultimate finalized.
Good.
Then we're gonna take a look at it and get it out.
Let's do that.
Right
yes.
away. So I
will. Yes, please send me that information. And
No, you're not understanding. Did Namita communicate with you recently, like a day or two?
No, not in the last few days.
Now,
no.
This is part of our problem. I've told Namita that when we are doing something, I want it to be done on scale, or in other words, the time we specified for it, let's get it done. Let's not procrastinate things, because that's what we did last year. We're not going to do it this year. And if somebody continues to do it, we're just going to cut the person off, as simple as that. I told her that a couple of days ago. And she said she's going to get in touch with you yesterday, I think. But if she's not doing that, that's going to be a problem. So I would say, reach out to her. You guys, 2 of you would be responsible for looking at the finite one. And when you get that one done, let's take a final look at it, and let's get. I thought this would have been out, it has been out. I told them to withhold it, that it's not gonna go.
It should have been, yeah.
The question now is, as soon as you guys get this, it will gonna be out. Then the other thing I wanted to tell you very quickly is that I want to get you to understand the work our central manager will be doing. Because like what we are doing, the central manager and her team will coordinate how they advertise our work. It's not something I'm going to be involved in. And so when she works with the people we have, which at least we have 15 people, they will be making sure that our work is being advertised properly.
Oh, good.
And if we do that, it's going to be going. Now, I had told you about our work in having like Hispanic speakers who will be mentoring and tutoring people in Hispanic. I've also told you about our tutorial service, which we will want to start. Now, with your years of experience in education, I think you could be instrumental in supporting them, not necessarily spending much time, but little time you spend would give them the type of project, kind of things they can do to make it much, because we want every aspect of what we do to be successful, period.
I agree. Good. Okay, so please let her contact me, her or him, and I'm looking forward to really getting on with all that. Yes, I do want to contribute as much as I can once the system is really working up and running and so on. Well, so, Joseph, thank you so much today. I'm going to bring us to an end for today. There's so much more to talk about, and I think it's really interesting that people are also seeing how SDIG is running and how its future is evolving. It's getting more and more developed in terms of organization, and therefore can spread much further. So that's a wonderful thing to share with our audience too.
I will share with you the structure that I've developed that shows how management works. Because sometimes some people say, oh, do this. They expect it to be done. No, it doesn't work that way. No. There's strategy for getting things to work. And that's the structure I wanted to share with you, but I couldn't find it.
Well, don't worry. Let's do that next week. Let's share that with our live audience next week, and maybe your diagram will be available then. Please send it to me, and then I can display it. So yeah, this is wonderful.
Remember what I told you about video, what's it called? Editing and Canva, those two things, I told you about it. I don't think you have made time for it, and try and make time for it, because those are things I want to see how I can add value in what we are doing. Okay?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'm quite an expert on Canva now, so I can do anything there. And I can design things very easily. I can design websites. I mean, that's part of my work too. Digital literacy side, I help people design.
Just make time, because if we make time, when that book comes out, we can be able to see how we can use it to help schools, to help teachers who are interested in finding various strategies that they can use to meet the needs of their students that is based on human development theories. Yes. That can also be transferred into technological use, because the same theory is playing there if people understand the connection between those theories and the technology today.
Thank you. Yes, that's so true. And I really look forward to exploring more about SDIG with you next week, on next Monday, same time, same place. Well, it's Monday for me. And it's Sunday for me. We seem to have got a good rhythm now, Joseph.
Absolutely. And we're going to keep it that way.
Great.
All right. Have a good one.
Thank you so much. And thank you to all our audiences. And we'll be in touch. I'll be sending out clips.
All right.
And have a great week ahead. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, so much. We have tiptoed into many territories during today's talk. I'll be posting the highlights during the week. And I hope you'll join us again next week, same time, same place, for the Burnout Breakthrough discussion between Lyndon Thorpe, embodiment mentor, and Dr. Joseph Noyer, the president of SDIG. Thank you so much. Have a great week. Bye for now.